all, I'm Amy from Moon Mindology, and today I want to look at the transits of Joe Biden up until mid-year and the whole year for USA, because there's not very many transits. So without further ado, let's get into it. But don't forget, like, subscribe if you like my content. Leave a comment. I always love a comment. Very interesting. So 14th of March 2024, Jupiter opposes Mars. So this is really good for a bout of energy and feeling like moving forward as well, because Biden has to be careful not to overdo and overexert himself, as there can be problems. The axis of the Moon and Mars, they're quite delicate and rather significant placements. If you look at his history, they have caused a lot of disaster for him in the past, and thus when they are activated, they can also trigger the country as well, as long as he's the leader. The 12th house can bring assassinations, and there is a link to prisons, hospitals, and also crime. So there can also be greater problems with drugs and conspiracies as well. Mars is quite aggressive, but it's also the leader of the 1st and the 6th. So this is significant for health. And this could be a jump in his health, but there also could be a recovery. However, Jupiter is a America planet, so there can be problems with how he feels in himself. This can also link back to changes in the economy too. There is a Vipreet Raja Yoga here and also an Arista Yoga, so there could be serious health problems. But the Vipreet Raja Yoga can make it so it benefits him in some way, as that yoga is all about making good of a situation that somebody else may see as disastrous. So a little note on Jupiter that we must take into consideration. His natal Jupiter is retrograde and exalted, and this can make a planet really unpredictable. A retrograde planet will always create tensions with, the karakas of Jupiter, so especially the sentient ones. So that's your children, your gurus, and your teachers. And if you actually listen to what he says, he often apologizes for things, but he's not actually apologizing. He's actually rebelling against people who tell him what to say. And the reason he mentions it is because he knows he can get away with it. And he often smiles as he knows it's not what people want to hear, because he is very rebellious in my view anyway. But he has a problem with, members of his guidance team. And it's no secret that he has also lost 2 children in tragic and unfortunate circumstances. And then the remaining 2 have deep emotional issues. But this is an amazing, albeit unfortunate, thing that plays out, from the chart in his life. And as he's a public figure, you can actually see it. So don't always be tricked into thinking exalted planet always means good, because it can be sometimes too much energy and cause problems, especially if it's so associated with an evil house or retrogrades are involved. So 24th of April 2024, Jupiter aspects Mercury. So the 12th house is triggered here again, and Mercury rules the 8th and the 11th. So there can be some real issues with foreign affairs, as well as scandal and taxation. And this is still the same, linked to Vipreet Raja Yoga as well as the Arista Yoga. So he can benefit from unfortunate events, but there can be health issues. This is good for communication. So perhaps it will be easier to understand. He will be easier to understand during this time, and it may even do some traveling. This Mercury is quite problematic, as it's encompassing a lot of negative energy within the chart. Next up, 6th of May 2024, Uranus opposes Mercury. As I said, Mercury is a problem planet, and Uranus can create sudden changes. So this can be a problem for his communication, his associates, and there can also be an issue with scandals as well. So expect to see potential tax changes, changes in crime rates, and different things popping up with foreign affairs as well. Putin also has got a planet at this point So they will get activated at the same time. So keep that in mind as well. 20th of May 2024, Jupiter opposes the Sun. Now, I really like this aspect. And for me, it was positive, but I personally have a very strong Sun. And I've seen this aspect not be so great for some people. So you really have to assess the energy. Looking at Biden's Sun, it isn't a good sign. It's conjuncted benefic, aspected by Jupiter, and afflicted once by Saturn. It rules the 10th as well. Being in his first, it is strong and supported. So this could be great for career, but also the country itself, the national identity and the leader themselves. So this is a positive aspect in my point of view. But you have to bear in mind, Jupiter, is that going to be a problem? But the very subjects of this is going to be him as the leader, but the national identity and the country itself. So Jupiter opposes Venus 24th of May, and this is in the first house. So this is about him as the leader. It's the national identity and his health. So Venus rules the 7th and also the 12th, which can bring contracts, foreign affairs and imports into the picture. And this could be arrangements with other leaders who are very affluent. They could also be affluent, but that is not evident in this chart, unfortunately. Could be bankers, they're affluent, but we could also be dealing with some espionage and secret agencies. So the 14th of July, Jupiter aspects or transits Saturn. Now, the problem that we have here is that looking at Biden's chart, he can bring sudden scarcity, a limitation to finance, security, mortgages and national wealth. And I know you're probably saying, well, yeah, you don't need an astrologer to tell me that in hindsight, but it can be seen in the chart, and making these observations, makes us all better astrologers. But when Jupiter gets involved, this could make it better, or it could make it worse as Jupiter does expand. But, there is a possibility it could bring luck and fortune to these situations and give the country a break from wild inflation. But I wouldn't hold my breath if I were you. Although I do think in general, Jupiter should bring a bit of relief to security and food sources for the majority. Now, on to the year ahead for the USA, as there are very few transits for 2024. So the 4th of February 2024, Neptune has a half return, and this occurs between the 4th and 10th house. So there can be some kind of deception, illusion, or something like that within the country, and how it appears to others. And this incorporates the land, the oil, and also the status of the country as a whole. There can be problems with addiction and illusions, as well as people being very sensitive. So there could be a spiritual awakening as well. But that does come with the possibility of cults, on the other hand. So we have to keep an eye out for that. Though it could be very good for film and Hollywood and photography. Then we've got the good old Pluto return, which I've spoken about a lot. This is the first time it is going to really hit perfect to the degree, to the minute. So on the 22nd of February 2024, the first intense Pluto return, and this is very transformative. It's about obsessions, compulsions, corruption, atomic energy, and even revenge. Pluto's very taboo, and it's all about unbalanced power. So for instance, think of a victim and a person who commits a sexual assault. It's unbalanced power. A tyrannical government and the taxpayer. A man with a gun pointing at somebody with their hands in the air. An obsessive stalker, or even a businessman who would do just about anything in order to get what he wants. but you get the gist. Pluto creeped close to this return point in May 2023, but the big one is really going to hit 22nd of February 2024, and then again 22nd of July 2024. So then 25th of August, Jupiter aspects Saturn. Now this could be positive for business and money. Saturn is the 10th house, is in the 10th house, and this could be all about oil as well. As Saturn rules the 2nd and 3rd houses, there could be an impact to intercity travel as well as the monetary system. But Jupiter rules 2 angles. This can have a problematic influence, and it could drive up the prices of oils and things that come from the earth, or even agriculture and crop. So there could be problems with leaders and the status of the country as a whole. But I would certainly say that oil will be involved in whatever happens, though. This is a bit of a wild card. So we have yet to see how Jupiter behaves. There's another aspect, Jupiter to Saturn, 22nd of November 2024. And then you have the final Pluto return on the 26th of December. So that will bring to completion whatever events unfold between the 22nd of February and, there's a beginning, middle, of end, like, every good story. 22nd of February is the beginning. The middle, or the peak, the secondary peak will be set 22nd of July 2024, and then the grand finale will be the 26th of December. But I hope you enjoyed my reading today. I hope you didn't find me too much of a naysayer. I try not to be, because if you run around saying negative things all the time, you're very often wrong. But yeah, I think it's just important that we know the meanings of these transits. We know how they work. We know what to look out for. And, we can make decisions from there. Of course, check your own chart. If you see a specific aspects, especially from the outer planets to your personal planets, I'd be extra careful. But for the most part, I think things will be okay. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever those things you do. Yeah, thank you very much. Catch you later. Bye.